Welcome to the Bold Analysis. This week we are taking a challenge. Where are you watching this podcast from? Is it Nairobi? Is it Mombasa? Johannesburg? Bangkok? UK? Where are you watching us from? I really want to look at that demographics. And I'm hoping that you're enjoying your new year. Today is the 8th day of 2025. I want to tell you, this is the year that the country will decide as to whether the president is going home or not. And I'm saying not the whole country, but the undecided votes. They're going to make that decision this year. It is the make or break for Kenya Kwanza. Do you know that since Kimani Ichung'wah, the Kikuyu member of parliament and the majority leader, blasted George Natembeya during Wetangula's mother's burial in Bungoma, the jibe that was targeting the Trans Nzoia boss was not well translated within the corridors of State House, because while Ichung'wah was appearing as attacking Natembeya, the attack on the former regime led by former President Uhuru Kenyatta by the vocal Kikuyu member of parliament did not go well with the rank and file around President Sako. And that informs the reason why the majority leader is not around the president since the Bungoma fiasco.
I want to ask you, Governor Natembeya, you were commissioner the other day when hundreds of people were kidnapped, abducted and killed in Kerio Valley na wakatupwa mili yao hapa River Yala, wewe ukiwa regional commissioner Rift Valley. Kwani siku hiyo haukujua maisha ya wananchi ni maisha? Si tuambiane ukweli jameni? Tuambiane ukweli, tusiambiane. Sababu siasa mnazofanya, Governor Natembeya, nikwambie leo mchana dhahiri, siasa mnazofanya za kugawa watu kwa misingi ya ukabila, mambo hizo siasa zimekoma na hautafaulu nazo.
Ulikuwa na watu wa kuwatupa huko. Hata wewe hauna akili ama fahamu ya kisiasa, ujue wakati unasema serikali hiyo ingine ile Natembeya alikuwa huko, unazungumza hiyo deputy president alikuwa hapo, alikuwa deputy president. Uhuru alikuwa president. Are you fighting Uhuru or the president, or you are fighting Natembeya? Whom are you fighting? Confused person. You don't even know what you are saying. Confused. Yusu kusema mambo ya ng'ombe ati wale wanapinga, ni wale wananyamba na mdomo. Are those the statement of putting Kenya together? Your Excellency, jiondoe kwa hii mzigo hii watu. Usikuja ukabebezwa mzigo ambaye haikuhusu. And also when you stand, you are the president. You should say utaki hiyo maneno ya matusi. Because in another way, in public and in Kenya and the constitution, you cannot talk bad words in the front of the president. Hata uwezi kupiga ule mtu mwingine direct president akiwa hapo, kwa sababu unamkosea heshima. Bahali president ako need respect. I wish ni wakati ya Moi angekaribia hiyo mikutano ya president hata kidogo, kwa sababu when you are there, the instruction and the information ile watu wanagoja ni ya president, kwa sababu ndio amebeba nchi. Lakini sio yako kwenda hapo kujigamba, kutukana wengine. Na mimi nashindwa hiyo mkutano wanaenda kuzungumza kwa watu wengine, sehemu nyingine, region zingine. Si ukuje uzungumze hiyo mambo central, kwa sababu ndio ile watu wanakuhusu. Unaenda kupiganisha Western, unaenda kupiganisha wapi? And the statement you are making, it is building Natembeya or is building other people. Wananchi wanapenda sana yule mtu anapigwa anaenda Simba the Goat. Mkifikiria ni kupiga Natembeya, mmepandisha yeye juu, ameanza kuwa hilo. Kasema mmepiga ameenda juu. We should see how to solve issues.
Kindly, if you're watching this video for the first time and you've not subscribed to our channel, find it important to subscribe. Subscription is absolutely free. When you subscribe, you will not be able to skip any of our well-analyzed videos because you'll be getting notifications. We are crossing over to 100,000. The target is less than 3,000. So make sure you subscribe so that we cross that line. I want you to listen to Kimani Ichung'wah's statement in Bungoma. While he was appearing as talking down Natembeya on the issue of abduction, but that statement fashioned to attack Natembeya was also dragging Uhuru Kenyatta's name in the mud. One of the direct statements of this target, meaning that William Ruto is just continuing with abductions that were going on under Uhuru regime. And William Ruto's political think tanks felt uncomfortable with the direction that Kimani Ichung'wah was taking. And now it is emerging that he's been removed from critical WhatsApp group that is managing president's daily events. And that is why, that informs the reason why he's been missing in president's events since the day in Bungoma. Conspicuously missing was on Sunday, the president was in Elgeyo Marakwet and his deputy was in Mbeere, Kithure Kindiki. Ichung'wah never attended any of those two events, but of course he was expected to tag along the president in Elgeyo Marakwet, as has been the norm. During the sing-off of William Ruto in the JKIA while he was heading to Ghana, and even the day he was coming back, Ichung'wah was one of the leaders from parliament missing in that, and Mbeere North MP Ruku was the one that was there. After the Saturday statements, it is alleged that William Ruto's close confidants, who normally try to checkmate, interpret, and track what the politicians are saying around, or rather during his events, were disturbed by Ichung'wah's statements that they tagged non-constructive. I'm told that there are people that collate, there is the political think tanks that collate everything, what different politicians say, especially, you know when president attends an event, they normally agree, you say this, you say that one, you say other one, and you say the other one. So all this is normally done just to try to track, so that you know who is selling the government agenda and what is not, and what is right. So it is part of his packaging as he launches and he starts his campaign. I don't think it should, and if the State House is realizing that the Kikuyu legislator is a liability to them, then I'm sorry. That is a bit too late. Quite political observers look at the actions of the Kikuyu member of parliament and look at him as a liability to the president. And these are some of the red alerts that probably you can look at, and these are the red alerts that you can't ignore. You should ask yourself a very good question. The president and the State House handlers should be able to realize that the Kikuyu legislator attends functions, organizes functions in his Kikuyu constituency in Kiambu County. The Kikuyu legislator do not attack the deputy president while speaking in his constituency or in Mount Kenya, but chooses to hijack presidential functions, president's functions that are held outside Mount Kenya, so that he can preach about broad-based and also send salvos to the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. So how does that help to consolidate the mountain for the president? Now from that point, you can see that as a liability because he cannot organize his own events. Now, while speaking somewhere in Bungoma, flanked by Cherargei, Aaron Cheriot, and Farouk Kibet, that is the time can take the microphone and say very unprintable words against the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. And so that kind of approach, the fact that that is what happens, and so sometimes he believes to be spoiling even the mood in some of the president's functions. This is not something new. I remember when, and Rigathi once said that there was a time Rigathi attended an event in Trans Nzoia, and there was this MP, this senator, Kisii Senator Onyonka, was attacking the government on that Adani deal, and he made all statements about Adani deal, and Rigathi was saying he was there. Later on, Rigathi received a call from State House, blaming him for not supporting government agenda, that he was seated there and did not even bother to counter-attack what Richard Onyonka had said about Adani. But Rigathi will later come and say he didn't have any information about what was happening on Adani. So it is not something new for the president's handlers to try to checkmate what exactly leaders are saying here and there. So that is one of the things that has really come out. The other red alert that I think you can see why I believe is actual liability. Rigathi has consolidated 25 leaders from Mount Kenya. These are leaders that never supported his impeachment. These are leaders that now are coalescing around his political ideology. These MPs and senators are drawn from different counties in Mount Kenya. Now, the president is believing that the president appointed Kindiki as the deputy. Kindiki is supposed to help in that political question, but he's not a political operative as by his nature. So the person that is supposed to do the Mount Kenya political activity is Ichung'wah. Now this is a man who does not do that. The third question: how does the emotional vendetta, personal vendetta against Rigathi team, how does that sell the government agenda? For example, I want to give, remember that goat auction event in Baringo? During that goat auction event in Baringo, the whole government went there to sell the vaccine, the vaccination program. So the vaccination program in terms of maybe debunking some of the things. And I remember Ichung'wah was the MC. So Sudi spoke. Then after Sudi, of course Sudi attacked those who were posting it. Then after Sudi there was Aaron Cheriot. After Aaron Cheriot there was someone, then there was Ichung'wah. So when, of course, they wanted to attack Kalonzo. The way Kalonzo is clueless about that vaccination. But in that attack, it was also, for him, whenever Ichung'wah is attacking Ruto's critics, his mind only goes after Rigathi Gachagua. So if you attend an event, the government wants to tell people about SHA, but you go and say that kuna watu wengine kutoka huko mlima ambao tuliwatoa katika serikali ambao blah blah about that SHA. Now, if your attacks, if your criticism of opponents is anchored on Rigathi, how does that sell the government agenda? The other red alert is this. I understand UDA party was supposed to do some UDA activation in Kiambu. It was supposed to be the first one. There is something called UDA Comrades chapter. This one moving from one university to the other. So they were supposed to do one for Kiambu County. And it was supposed to be done in one of, is it Kikuyu University? The Kikuyu campus of this one for Nairobi University. So that activation was cancelled last minute. Now that is his constituency. That is his constituency. So if he cannot really even conduct that UDA activations to market the UDA party in his constituency, how is it going to happen? Now, I want to say this. There are three politicians. Is it 4 or 3? Let me see. I'm looking at 3. There are 3 politicians that I understand President Ruto is planning to launch his 2027 campaigns this year. I think I saw that story somewhere that anaanza kulaunch hizo campaigns this year. There are 3 politicians that should not come near the president. As he tries to rebrand, repackage, amongst, of course, amongst other things like turning around the economy, which is key. Ichung'wah, Oscar Sudi, and I want you to guess the third one. I want you to guess the third one that should not be around the president. The third one is Junet. Those 3, and if you allow me to add the 4th one, I can add a CS. Who is this CS? Who is this CS? Yo. Hawanne. Ikanje. All the votes that Raila is supposed to give you under that broad-based zinamwagwa chini na Junet. Number 1. All the votes that even Mount Kenya people can sympathize to give you zinamwagwa chini na Ichung'wah. Now, all the votes that Ruto sympathizers, there are some people that sympathize with Ruto, say, has he served 1 term? Those votes, the kind of ego by Joho and Sudi, Toa Hawa. Those 4. But again on Ichung'wah, let me narrow down to Ichung'wah. I've mentioned Ichung'wah. Why I believe Ichung'wah cannot help Ruto solve Mount Kenya equation is this. The fact that he actually presided regarding the impeachment was a big setup. That was a big setup. You need to ask yourself, why is it that Ruto's personal friend, Ndindi Nyoro, decided to stay away from that impeachment? And he knew that it was in the interest of the president to impeach Rigathi. Nyoro was the man who was supported as was being given choppers to fly from one county to the other, selling government agenda. You need to ask yourself, why? From the fact that Ichung'wah took bragging rights, kwamba tumemfukuza. Mount Kenya is very angry with the president on Rigathi. Na mtu asikudanganye, you know, I look at some bloggers saying Rigathi shasahaulika. Rigathi, no. Hakuna kitu kama hiyo. The anger is still deep seated, and Rigathi Gachagua ni kuongeza tu kuni. Whatever he's doing, unaona hizi abductions, mgozo anapata hizo ni kuni anaongeza, but the anger is deep seated. So by that fact, Ichung'wah cannot address Mount Kenya on behalf of the president. In fact, even as the president plans to tour Mount Kenya, he should not go with Ichung'wah. Plus those Sudi, hao nimekuambia. And Joho, and Junet. I don't seem to see Ichung'wah with some mobilization network. I'm yet to see him organizing even a single political rally in Mount Kenya. Okay, must not organize a rally. I want to see Ichung'wah doing what even Maina Njenga is doing. Yeah. Yes. Let's see him gathering people. Even those convoy rallies, those peace rallies. I'm yet to see that. He's the majority leader. Why is he not representing the president in these functions in Mount Kenya? There are several functions hapa. Kuna several functions. Some burial events. You'll see some church. Why is he not representing the president in Meru, in Tharaka-Nithi, in Nyeri, in Kirinyaga, in Laikipia, in Murang'a, and even in Kiambu outside Kikuyu constituency? I can tell you this. The majority leader is not so much interested on how Ruto gets re-election. He's just interested on how he gets re-elected in Kikuyu constituency. In fact, I can tell you he will not even go for Senate. He will stick to that Kikuyu constituency because he's confined himself to that. The other third issue where Ichung'wah cannot help Ruto solve Mount Kenya question is he presents a combative approach in vote hunting. The strategy he has can't work for Mount Kenya now. Mount Kenya now ni kubembeleza. Haitaki ile combative attack. The combative approach, the kind of approach regarding Ichung'wah has, his language, his tone, his emotion is not one that can gather votes. In fact, inaongeza hasira. And I don't think that is the approach that can help the president. UDA MPs cannot coalesce around him for greed. There was a time there was a list ya barabara. One constituency ilikuwa napata is it almost 10 times what a single county is getting in Mount Kenya. So MPs know huyu akipatanga chance anakulanga yote, atupatiagi. Ladies and gentlemen, tuonane kesho. Thank you very much for supporting this podcast. I'm going to take the first 30 minutes before I sleep, doing this video at night. What time? At midnight. So nataka kuangalia the first 30 comments. Where are you watching from? Thank you.